Overhead press specialization will change your life. And in this video, I'll break down all the benefits, starting with the size and strength. Do you realize this is much more than a shoulder builder? It's actually an old school, time-tested competition exercise. There's some serious merit to this lift. And when you actually get strong at it, it'll contribute to your shoulders, triceps, upper back, and traps. And the crazy thing about it is that you don't have to go as heavy as the bench press. You can rep over 200 pounds on the OHP. Man, you're gonna have a great physique. And guess what? When you go do any other press, you're automatically gonna be strong. Maybe not the most specific, but you'll be up there. I would say you can easily have an advanced bench or late intermediate if you did nothing but overhead press. But I'm gonna say a lot of you can pull off the advanced status because it is a brutal exercise that doesn't give you the best leverages. When you overhead press, can you arch your back like a banana? Can you rely on your ribcage structure to reduce range of motion? The worst thing you could do is lean back or bend your legs. But if we're talking about the strict press, which is the correct way of doing the OHP for maximum gains, bro, we're talking strength like you wouldn't even fucking believe it. And the best thing about it is that it's completely safe. See, there's this big misconception that vertical presses are bad for the shoulders, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Read the book, Starting Strength, which is honestly a must-read for anyone who's serious about strength training, and you'll understand that the scapula rotates as you press. And when you're at the locked out position, there's no shoulder impingement. See, it's an issue when guys do this half-repping bullshit on the shoulder press, right? They grab these super heavy dumbbells, they need a spotter to help lift it, right? Because they're weak from the bottom. And then they're just doing half reps. Yeah, flaring your elbows at the absolute max, doing these fucking half reps, that's going to get you hurt eventually, probably. I would say there's a high chance. If we're talking about a properly executed overhead press, full range of motion, locking out your reps, doing it right, staying tight in the upper back, all that, you're not going to get hurt. It's actually the opposite. In fact, there are people who had shoulder injuries or who started getting overuse problems from benching. They switched to overhead press. The pain not only goes away, but they get much stronger in the process. And when they go back to bench, everything's great. Many people will alternate between bench and overhead. They'll do a few months full-on vertical, a few months full-on horizontal. Or they'll do a hybrid of the two for maximum injury prevention because it does offer that. At the same time, you should recognize that overhead press does not require safety pins for the most part. You just take it out of a squat rack, or any rack for that matter, or hey, just do it off the floor. You could clean it to your shoulders, that works too, and you do it. You don't need to have a great power rack. You don't need to have a spotter. It's a safe exercise done by itself. And if you do happen to fail the rep towards the lockout or whatever, it just goes back down to your chest and you're good. I suppose the only dangerous part would be if using a suicide grip and you hit the lockout and the bar drops because maybe it rolls out of your hand, then it lands on you. That could be a bit of a problem. Or doing some behind neck press type stuff. Yeah, might be problematic with all the flaring and the impingement. But the classic overhead press, done with proper form, I would argue it's safer, because you don't need safety pins or any of that sort. And if you did want to, by the way, you can easily do so. So there's no requirement of spotters or any of the sort. And also, you're getting more or less weight in the sense that the standards are hard to achieve. Okay, this is a brutal exercise that you can't really fuck around with. Like, you're either strong at it or you're not. And the thing is, strong on overhead press, the number itself, the absolute number is not that high. Okay, so if you can do 200 or more, that's pretty fucking strong on OHP. If you do your body weight or more, that's pretty strong. So it's not the same. Like doing 135 for 10 reps is pretty good. And if you can do it for more than 10, amazing stuff. I would say 15 to 20, yeah, that's very impressive. Whereas imagine 15 to 20 reps, 135 bench. Not at all the same thing. So you can get more out of less weight, don't have to go stupid heavy. It's easy on recovery. And at the same time, it's fast. Super efficient. Because let's say you want to bench 350. What do you have to do? Empty bar, 135, maybe 185 or 225, then 2.5, then 3, then a little bit close to 350, a little jump, maybe 335. That takes a while, right? And then you got to do your sets with this heavier weight. Like, it tends to be more time consuming, whereas overhead press, it's super rapid because you're not as strong on that lift. It's like comparing a front squat to a back squat. Because you're weaker on the front squat, it takes less warm-ups. It's faster. You don't have to go as heavy, therefore the workouts are quicker. Just the way it works. So overhead press, your workouts can be really, really, really fast. Finally, I touched upon this briefly at the start, but This really is a time-tested competition exercise. And it's unfortunate that guys aren't giving it the love that it really deserves, because it tests your strength in a really raw manner, and it's an ultimate form, honestly, of pressing performance. It's fucking badass in all respects. And all the old school greats performed the overhead press, every single one of them. They all had amazing numbers. And you can look at competitions from the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, and just in general, people were 100% drug-free. I understand there were some druggies in that mix, but for the most part, the overhead press standards were much better than they are now. Like, they were actually higher. You had guys in the 180s easily going over 200 pounds. This was the norm for these competitions. Even guys in 160s were hitting crazy freaking numbers. Like, the standards have fallen on overhead press, but they've risen for the bench. And I would say that's mostly due to the popularity of powerlifting and the fact that the bench is more of a bro lift, you know? Say, oh, how much you bench? Overhead press, you don't really have any of that shit. And it's time tested in all respects, longer than the bench. It existed before the bench press. Guys have been doing it forever. Like, for the longest time. One-arm dumbbell presses, just regular strict pressing. And actually, they had these specific type of bars where it was like combined into one, and the edges were all round and stuff. Like, in the 1800s and early 1900s, this was a very, very popular lift. Okay, and so was the bent press, but that's a different art altogether. What I'm saying is that strict pressing has always been a staple in old school routines and just strongman in general. Yeah, I mean, these days we see a lot of push pressing in strongman, but nonetheless, these guys doing a lot of strict reps as well. And when they do test their 1 rep max, it tends to be really up there, and they can do a lot of reps. So this is the missing element for many people. They focus on the bench. Maybe they throw in some dips here and there if they're capable. And then, of course, they tend to do the shoulder press with dumbbells, but I feel that the barbell style is highly neglected when it offers so many benefits. It's great for injury prevention. It's great for getting strong as fuck. It has carryover to a variety of different activities. It's super athletic. It's great for strongman. And it gets you jacked in all the right places. Like, this is going to contribute to your yoke. This is why in Naturally Enhanced, I include overhead press as the main builder. The bench is, I mean, it's there, but it's not the main focus, because the truth is that if you prioritize overhead press, it'll do more for your yoke. That's just the truth. So let's flip it around. Let's specialize in overhead press and do benches for accessories if we're trying to maximize yoke gains, right? Then in regards to the arms and all that, overhead press gets you results in that regard. Especially if you're doing a lot of overhead extensions too to complement it, long-headed triceps. Although you're probably going to do that nonetheless, right? So, hey man, you can't go wrong with this form of training. I strongly recommend it. I've done it in the past. Whenever I did those phases, bro, the delts come in, which very few naturals actually work on, which is a shame if you ask me. It's all about pecs and arms, but delts make a huge difference. Remember, neck, traps, and shoulders, and even the upper back, like, that's what makes you look like fucking massive from the front and even from the back. And overhead press will take care of those areas, especially on a maximized routine where you're doing all kinds of different things. Like, imagine you're doing the overhead press, you're doing your neck work, you're doing your rack pulls, you're doing your rows. Bro, you're gonna look like a fucking tank. And with the higher body fat, shit, there's not much for me to say. It's going to be the ultimate look for you. So I really, really, really recommend it. If you haven't tried it already, do so. You might love it. You might prefer it over the bench. Or you might just be like, you know what, forget about it. I'll do that as accessories and that's it. Overhead press is really, really effective. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And with that, I'll talk to you all next time.